Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. In honor of fall, I'm going to be showing you this fall makeup tutorial. So without further ado, let's get right into it. So I'm starting off first with my all-nighter setting or primer. I'm just going to rub that in, work it in real good. Make sure I get in between my baby hairs, get my chin. And then I'm going in with some color corrector. So all of my little acne scars or any imperfections that I don't want showing, I'm just gonna go ahead and cover with that. I really like this because it melts into my skin, and once I put on my foundation, it's like flawless. You can have the most sheer foundation, and if you color correct properly, you won't be able to see any of the pigment through it. So after I blend that out, I'm just gonna go ahead and brush through my eyebrows and get them shaped like how I want them. They're a little bit long right now, so I'm just brushing them up. And then I'm applying my dip brow, starting with the ends. So the end all the way to the front. Make sure that it's a nice straight line. And then I'm gonna do the top and then kind of feather out the top a little bit. And then I'm going to just fill in the tail end of it. Make sure it's nice and sharp. Going ahead and filling those in. Make sure there's no gaps. And like I said up front, you definitely don't want to fill it in too dark, so kind of just be careful on the front. I'm brushing it up. And now I'm going in with my concealer, and all of those little hairs that you may not want to pluck, just go ahead and conceal them. I like this one because it's really thick. I've been using this since I started doing my eyebrows, and it's never failed me. So I'm sharpening up the line. I am kind of a perfectionist when it comes to my eyebrows. But remember, they're supposed to be sisters, not twins. So don't obsess over it too much. I'm just going to spray my blending brush and go ahead and buff out the concealer under my eyes, or under my eyebrows. Sharpen that tail back up just in case some concealer got over it. I'm buffing up the front. I just want to make sure that the dip brow's throughout my brow and there's no like thick areas or anything. Put concealer over the entire brow. I just kind of sharpen up what needs to be sharpened. So the tail definitely needs to stick out. And so I'm gonna add some there and blend it out. And that's about it. So now I'm about to start my eyeshadow. I'm putting the Whiteout Concealer by Kat Von D. I'm gonna blend that out for the base of my eyeshadow so that I can get as much pigment as possible. And now I'm setting it with my setting powder. This particular setting powder that I'm setting my eyes with is by It Cosmetics, the Bye Bye Pores Translucent Powder. It makes a really great base.
And
Now I'm going into my eyeshadows, and I'm going to take that first red color up there, and I'm gonna apply it kind of like a V, or I don't know, kind of like a wishbone. But anyways, I'm doing like a cat eye, and I'm gonna fill it in really dark. And as I'm filling it in, I'm going to buff it out, so all along the crease to the peak. And I'm gonna go ahead and do that to the other side as well. Making sure they match up. Now I'm gonna go take those two shades, and I'm gonna buff out the red. And I'm going in with some yellow, and I'm starting to realize that I kind of like the yellow better. So I'm gonna go in with that brown and that yellow and really buff it out, subconsciously matching the background of this video. I didn't realize I was doing that until, well, my eyeshadow was done. I'm gonna go ahead and add those same two colors and buff out the other side, making sure that there is no harsh red line. And now that that's all buffed out, I'm going to add some more of that concealer, buff it out, because I'm now going to add another color to the inner corner and all throughout my eyelid. So I'm gonna take that yellow and that orange, and I'm really just gonna work it into the inner corner of my eye. I want it to be very, very bright and pigmented. I love yellow, especially like that deep yellow, kind of like a burnt orange type of yellow. That's like one of my favorite fall colors. Comment your favorite fall color down below. Now I'm going to take that olive green, and I'm gonna go right in behind the yellow with the olive green. I'm gonna pack it down. It was having a hard time showing up. It was showing up a little bit chalky, so make sure you really want to pack that on. You don't want it to not stand out like the other colors. Now I'm gonna go back in with that red, and I'm just gonna sharpen back up that little eyeshadow wing that I created. I just didn't want to lose too much red in the crease above the yellow and the green. Feathering out the end of the green into the red, making sure that that's blended out so it kind of transitions very smoothly. Now I'm going in with my foundation. This is Lancome. This is by far my favorite foundation. I've been using this for about like 3 years now, and every time I try to use something else, I'm just highly disappointed. I like MAC, but nothing stays on like this, and it doesn't crease my face, and it just gives me that coverage that doesn't always like come off on everything that my face touches. So I like it. Now I'm going in with my concealer. I'm gonna get up the bridge of my nose, and I'm going to bring that under my eye, and then also out on the outside of the winged eyeshadow. Get my chin, forehead, and I'm gonna let that kind of sit while I put my contour on. I feel like the longer the concealer sits, the better it looks at the end once you blend it. So now I'm just contouring my chin. I'm kind of going in like a circular motion around my chin area. I kind of like want to flick it up so that it really gives me a sharpened chin. And same with the sides of my cheeks. I'm really digging that in. And I'm gonna go straight to the bridge of my nose, contour that. And then right underneath my nose, and I'm gonna put a circle at the very tip of my nose where I want it to be the pointiest. And then I'm just gonna go ahead and spray my brush and blend that out. Blend it into my brow bone so that it looks a lot more structured. And then be careful just blending it down the bridge of your nose. I don't want it to mix too much with the concealer because I still want you to see the contour. And now I'm gonna buff out the contour on the sides of my cheeks. I want it to be really seamless. I don't want it to be too dark, so I kind of use a lighter concealer, a lighter contour. I used to deeply contour and I would just look like a drag queen, so I've adopted a more natural look. So I'm blending that out really, really well. Make sure I'm getting by my chin. And now I'm going to blend out the concealer. And since it sat for a while I did my contour, I get a lot more coverage out of it. And this is already a pretty thick concealer, very full coverage, so I find like letting it sit just a little bit but not too long. So I found that like doing my contour first and then blending it out was the perfect amount of time. Just making sure that it's all blended out there. I don't want any harsh lines before I set my face, so I make sure all the harsh lines are blended out before I add my setting powder. So now I'm going in with my Sasha Buttercup setting powder. I love this because it doesn't give you flashback. I know all my brown girls out there know what I mean. Like when nighttime comes and you want to take pictures, it's gonna be a problem if you don't have the right setting powder on. So this is highly recommended to me. It's never failed me. And I'm gonna get the bridge of my nose, my chin, my cheeks, make sure everything is nice and set. I'm pressing it into my skin. It's set for on the bridge of my nose because I want that to it's gonna create more of a contoured nose effect if you just kind of let it sit like that. But everywhere else, I'm pressing it in. And now I'm gonna set my contour while my face is setting. And I'm gonna go over everything I contoured. And just set that in place. Getting in between my baby hairs, trying to be careful because I didn't want to mess them up. Dusting away all the excess setting powder, and I'm going to dip my brush into my powder as I get like the jawline. I want to have like a really strong jawline, so I'm making sure I hit that up with some powder, going back under my eyes with the powder. You want to make sure you get a powder that's closest to your skin tone as possible. Oh yeah, and this is the MAC Mineralized Skin Finish in dark. That's what I just applied all over. Now I'm going back into that contour palette and I'm taking the middle one and I'm just gonna brush over my nose contour. Make sure that it's nice and blended, but still sharp and chiseled, you know? Taking my bronzer. This one has like some shimmer. I kind of put too much, but I'm just blending that out on my cheekbone right above the contour. I'm putting a little bit on my chin, a little bit on my nose, just a dab, but really just blending out the contour with it, the top of the contour. And then I'm gonna take my BH Cosmetics blush palette and I'm gonna put that right on top of the bronzer, but more on the balls of my cheek. And now I'm just taking some brow gel because you want your eyebrows to be really dark. Well, not too dark, but you don't want powder all over them. So I'm just going back over them in case they got powdery, which they did. This made a big difference. And this keeps your eyebrows intact all day. So now I'm going in with this kind of plummish color and I'm taking that under my eye, and I actually liked it a lot. So I ended up going over the red with this plum color to kind of deepen it and make it more fall. It gave it like a burgundy undertone and I really liked it. So as you can see, I'm going back over that red with this plum. And it added a really, really beautiful tint to it. But you could still see the red hue underneath, which is perfect. It didn't overpower it too much. And now I'm taking that green and I'm putting it on the bottom lash, right underneath the green on the top. And then last but not least, the bottom corner of the eye is getting hit with some yellow. Anything eye related is so tragic for me, so please excuse these ugly little makeup faces. My apologies. So I'm gonna go ahead and set my face with the Morphe Luminous setting spray. And I'm going to add my highlighter on my brow bone, blending it out so it's not too harsh, and I'm just taking a little bit right at the highest point of my cheekbone, putting a little bit there, a little bit down the bridge of my nose and at the tip, a little bit on my chin. And now we're going into eyeliner. So I don't do a dramatic eyeliner, I kind of just keep it simple, just a little wing. Nice and clean. Take your time, don't want to rush. I know sometimes eyeliner is hard after you put all the eyeshadow on. It gets a little bit choppy, but make sure that it's going on nice and smooth. So I'm just going back and double checking it, making sure it's dark and it stands out. And voila, we have some eyelashes. And I'm gonna go in with some inner corner highlight, which was the same highlight that I used for my cheeks. It was the bronzer, not the highlight, sorry. The same bronzer that I put on top of my contour is what I'm putting in my inner corner. And now I'm taking, this is actually an eyeliner, but I found like the best eyeliners are, well, like the cheapest little eyeliners I use is brow pencils, not brow pencils, but lip pencils. So this one was from the beauty supply store, and then I'm going in with some lip gloss on top of that, the CoverGirl. And then I wanted to brighten it up, so I'm gonna put the color 200 in the middle. And I'm adding a couple of little beauty marks here. Something slight and subtle, not too much, but just to bring out some key points in my face, like my cheekbone, under my eye, my nose, and some setting powder. And that's it, guys. I really hope you enjoyed this look. Like, comment, subscribe. Thank you for watching.